Hello there. Welcome to the world of Pokemon. I'm what they call a Pokemon professor, Professor Anthony. I have with me my good friend Josh.
Yes. Thank you, Anthony.
So, Josh, what would you describe your Pokemon knowledge as?
Limited.
Limited Pokemon knowledge.
Very limited.
Okay, well, we're going to change that today.
Okay.
I'm going to teach you how to play the Pokemon trading card game.
Great.
Okay. So there's a lot that goes into this. Buckle up and try to be as succinct as possible. Feel free to ask any questions you may have along the way.
I will.
I have a little bit of stuff written down, trying to explain stuff as best I can. I'll try to be as helpful as I can answering questions. You're on the way to your own Pokemon journey.
All right.
Are you excited?
I am.
Okay. Like on a scale of like 1 to 10.
7.
7. Okay. All right. We'll have that to 10 by the end.
Great.
Of the video. All right. So I have a stack of cards that we're going to be talking about.
Okay.
What do you think the most important part of Pokemon is?
The cards.
Yeah. Okay. But like specifically, like.
Well, the energy cards.
Okay.
Probably can't go anywhere without the energy.
You can't go anywhere without the energy cards.
Okay.
So I have. There are 8 different kinds of energy. I'll
All right.
tell you a little bit about each one.
I feel
Well, they all kind of like work.
I feel you can guess some of these.
Yes.
Based on theme.
So we have 8 different kinds of energies in the game. There's water, fire, grass, lightning. I think they use in the game, but it's like electric, and it's a little weird. But lightning or electric, it's fine. Fighting, psychic, dark, steel.
Okay.
There used to be more. There used to be dragon and fairy, but they got rid of those.
Okay.
It was a little too.
Who is they?
The Pokemon Company.
They are the final arbiter of Pokemon rules.
Yeah. Yes, they are the arbiter of Pokemon rules.
Okay.
So the energy is like the lifeblood of the game. This is your resource system. Many different types, like I said, all those. If you're familiar with Pokemon, which I know you aren't, but some people watching might be familiar with Pokemon, maybe not with the game. These types are going to be like second nature to you. You're just going to know a lot of these. In the actual video game, there's a bunch more types. But for the purpose of the game and to not like clutter the resource system a ton, they've narrowed it down to these 8.
Okay.
In the game, there's like 18 types or something like that.
Okay.
So, but we're only going to focus on these 8 for right now. You can attach 1 energy from your hand. Should back up a little bit. A game starts if you and I were sitting down to play. We each have 60 card decks.
Okay.
Made up of a mix of energy, trainers, Pokemon. Those are the 3 card types. Energies, trainer, Pokemon.
Okay.
Usually in like a standard deck, which is like the name of the format, you're going to have about 10 to 13 energy cards total in your entire deck. And like I said, they're the resource system of how the game works. So
do you have the same cards?
Nope.
Both people don't have the same cards.
We could, but you build your deck however you want to see like fit. There's a bunch of different strategies. We'll go more in like in depth. Not in this video. It's gonna be like basic rules, but there'll be more that kind of explains like deck building.
Okay.
So
you bring your own cards.
You bring your own cards.
Okay.
Yep. It's not like a game of like Risk or Monopoly where you would just sit down like everyone has the same box. There is actually like a thing called Battle Academy that is kind of like that, where they're like the decks are pre-constructed. It's meant to like bring out play in like a group setting and like put all the cards back. They're like the same cards every time, but not for the purpose of this. So you can attach 1 energy card from your hand to your Pokemon per turn. That's the one important one.
All right.
So I'm going to show you a Pokemon.
Great.
So I'm put these energies away.
Okay.
I'm going to show you a Pokemon.
Okay.
Everything good so far?
So far, so good.
This is Drampa.
Drampa.
Okay. Drampa is... So you might notice that symbol.
Yes.
So that symbol will always tell you what type of the Pokemon is.
Okay.
You might notice that symbol doesn't match any of these.
Correct.
This is normal type.
Okay.
Normal type Pokemon. There's 2 attacks.
Gentle Slap.
Raging Cannon.
Okay.
Quite the stark contrast.
Very different, yes.
Yeah. The number of stars there tells you how many energies you need attached to your Pokemon.
I see.
To use the attack.
Okay.
Normal type can be represented by any color of energy.
Okay.
So the star is the colorless energy symbol, as it's called. So this water energy attached to this Drampa lets you use Gentle Slap.
I see.
It only cares about the
how many?
The
quantity. Okay.
So this water, this fire, this grass, all attached to it, lets you use Raging Cannon.
Okay.
We'll get to what Raging Cannon exactly does later on.
Sure.
But the colorless symbols
it's like
only,
a catch-all.
Yeah.
Okay.
It only cares about quantity. It doesn't care about specific type.
Okay. So this is a basic Pokemon?
This is a basic Pokemon.
Okay.
We'll get to what that means in a little bit as well. So Drampa, like I said, colorless energy costs. Everything good so far?
Yep.
All right. We're going to move on to Ghastly.
Okay.
So Ghastly, as you can see.
Knight? What is
So for Ghastly, for Mysterious Beam and Suffocating Gas,
you need only that one.
Yes.
So wouldn't that mean that this first card is a better in a way? Because
not necessarily. It's more generic, which means more types of decks can play this. You typically don't have every single energy type in your deck because that would make it like inconsistent to play.
And how many cards do you get when you start?
You draw 7 to start a game.
Okay.
It's a 60-card deck. You draw 7. That's your starting hand.
Okay.
So yeah, you figured it out. So Ghastly, 1 dark energy attached to use Mysterious Beam. Obviously, for Suffocating Gas, you need a second one. Not a second one, but you need a second one.
Okay.
So that all good?
Yep.
All right. Now Puchiana. What do you think about Puchiana?
So you need 1 dark and 1 general.
Yep, 1 dark, 1 anything.
Okay.
So 1 dark, and then could be a second dark if you needed to. Can be any other.
So
ones. Doesn't matter.
these energies have to come out of your 7 cards in your hand.
Yep. So at the start of each of your turns, you draw a card as well.
Oh,
and there's a lot of different ways to draw cards in the game, so you're not limited to those 7 cards.
So you're gathering cards as you go.
Yep. Okay. Pokemon's very much a game about managing resources.
Okay.
Resources includes energy. Resources includes Pokemon. Resources includes cards in hand.
Okay.
And trainers. That's right. It's the other card type. So Puchiana, yep. Dark energy. Energy of any other type.
Gnaw off.
Gnaw off.
All right.
Puchiana.
Okay.
There's a theory. This is almost irrelevant, but I'm going to say it anyway. That any card with a moon in the background makes it look significantly cooler.
Okay.
Do you agree?
So far.
Okay. I think this is the only card I have with it.
Okay.
Moon, but yeah, worth mentioning. All right, we're going to move on to another little weird one here. We have Koraidon.
Okay.
A legendary ancient lizard from Scarlet and Violet.
A primordial beatdown.
Yes.
Or shred.
Yes.
So obviously you need 1 of the fighting and the general.
Yep.
And then 2 fighting? No, what's that other one?
It's a fire.
Fire, fighting, and general.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, this is seems very straightforward.
Yep, this is pretty straightforward. I will say.
Yeah, what does that mean?
That's dragon type.
Okay.
So they kept dragon type Pokemon, but they make it so there's no more dragon type energies.
You need the fire and the fighting.
It's not always fire and fighting, but they're more often like a mix of different energies. So they need a little bit more components because dragon type Pokemon typically like a little stronger.
Okay.
All right. That's actually pretty much all I have for like the basics of like
an attack.
Each individual Pokemon card.
Okay.
Simple so far.
So
right?
no Pokemon card can do anything without the energy card. Is that correct?
No.
Okay.
We'll get to that in a little bit.
Okay.
But as long as it has an energy cost next to it and needs those energy cards, there are some things that don't require energy cost.
I see.
But we'll get to that later. But yeah, that's really all I have for like each.
Okay.
Do you have any questions before we move on? All right, we're gonna move on to attacking.
Okay.
So in the top right corner, I'm gonna go back to the Drampa. Where's Drampa? Drampa's here. You'll see next to its type is a little thing that says HP with a number 120.
Okay.
So that's its total health.
Okay.
It's called hit points. It's total hit points. Hit points are how much damage it can take before it's knocked out.
I see. So like the health meter in a video game.
Yep, pretty much.
Okay.
Knocking your opponent's Pokemon out is how you win the game.
Okay.
So at the start of each game, you shuffle your deck, you draw 7 cards.
Yep.
You then take the next 6 cards off the top of your deck and you put them off to the side.
Okay.
Those are called your prize cards. You put them face down.
All right.
Whenever you knock out an opposing Pokemon, you take a prize card.
I see.
And whoever takes all the prize cards first wins the game.
Okay, so you got to accumulate 7 knockouts.
6 knockouts. 6 prize cards.
6 prize cards.
Yeah, 7 cards in hand, 6 prize cards.
Got it.
Okay. So that tells you how much damage it can take.
Okay.
You can probably figure out that's how much damage the attacks
I see. Do the attacks always add up to the...
No.
Okay.
No, that's just coincidence. It's funny, but that's just coincidence.
Okay.
Also, when it's knocked out, it and anything attached to it, which is energies, and then something called tool cards, which we'll get to, they go to what's called your discard pile.
Okay.
When you use a card, it just goes to your discard
Okay.
pile. It's just a formality thing.
Okay.
So, you have your deck, which is usually right here. Your discard pile is usually like just a face-up pile in front of it.
Okay.
So, yeah, knocking out Pokemon's how you win the game. So if you look back, like I said, at its attacks, we have 20, 100. So with 1 energy of any type, remember, attached to Drampa,
It's 20.
it does 20 damage to the opposing Pokemon.
Okay.
So we can go back to Koraidon as an example. It would do 20 damage to Koraidon.
Okay.
So if you use Gentle Slap and knock Koraidon down to 120 damage. Damage does not go away at the end of each player's turn.
Okay.
So this would be left with 120.
How do you keep track of that?
That's a good question. So there's these things called damage counters. They come with like starter decks and stuff. I don't have any. I wish I actually should have brought some. Basically, just put them on your Pokemon. They come in multiples of 10 and 50.
Okay. So it's public knowledge how much is left.
Yep, public knowledge how much is left. Those are really like the base ways of keeping track of it. You'll put like little counters on it that'll say like 10 or 50.
Okay.
So when the stack does 20 damage, it puts 2 damage counters on it. That's actually important.
Okay.
Specifically, would put 2 damage counters on it. So obviously that would weaken it for later turns, right? So then you'd only need to do 120 total more damage to it to knock it out.
Sure.
Okay.
Got it.
Good so far.
Yep.
Okay. So we can look at Drampa's second attack.
Okay.
3 energy, 100 plus. We'll get to the plus in a little bit. The plus means it has an effect, though.
Okay.
The attack has an additional effect, which is always marked in a text box.
Okay.
Under, like, the attack.
You got it.
So can you read that?
If all of your benched Pokemon have at least 1 damage counter on them, the attack does 120 more damage.
Yes. We'll get to the bench later. But so it has an additional effect. A lot of attacks have additional effects.
Okay.
Koraidon also, like, both of its attacks have additional stuff.
I see.
The multiplication symbol usually means it has something extra as well.
All right.
Usually multiplying means like a coin flip or something like that. So.
Okay.
But yeah, they'll always be written in smaller font. The effects are as important as the damage because there are a lot of different things attacks can do beyond damage. One of the most common things you'll see is a special condition. There are a bunch of different special conditions. There's asleep, paralyzed, poisoned, burned, confusion. So...
Luckily, I haven't suffered from all of those.
Right.
Okay.
Only some.
Only some.
So I'm going to do this from my perspective because clockwise and counterclockwise gets involved, and I don't want to try to turn something counterclockwise.
No. Yeah. Okay. Nope, let's not do that.
So if Pokemon's asleep, it can't attack. At the end of every turn, you flip a coin. If the coin lands on heads, your Pokemon's no longer asleep.
Okay.
If it lands on tails, it remains asleep. If Pokemon's asleep, it's rotated counterclockwise.
All right,
so it looks like that. Paralyzed is similar to being asleep, but it only lasts for 1 turn. There's no coin flip, but it's just a 1-turn guaranteed stun.
All right.
Yeah, the effect will end at the end of your turn, but still, like the coin flip has like a chance. The difference is like asleep. There's a coin flip, so you put my Pokemon to sleep. There's a coin flip between our turns, so by the time it gets back to my turn, there's a chance they sleep didn't do anything.
I see. All right. Yeah.
Paralyzed is guaranteed 1 turn.
Okay.
Poison and burn work similarly. There's actually counters for those, like there are for damage counters. Poison Pokemon has 1 damage counter placed on it, so it takes 10 damage in between each of our turns.
Wait, what?
So if it's poisoned...
Okay.
So I don't think I have a card that poisons things. I should have grabbed this example. So if you have a Pokemon that poisons my Drampa, it gets like a poison counter.
Okay.
And then between each of our turns, it takes 10 damage.
Okay.
Without doing anything else. Like the poison just does 10 damage.
I see. All right.
Make sense?
Yep. Okay.
If it's burned, it receives 2 damage counters between each turn. But after it takes the damage, flip a coin. If the coin lands on heads, it's no longer burned. Like I said, they have physical markers that you put on them to denote poisoned or burned.
Okay.
Confusion's the last one. If a confused Pokemon tries to attack, so like if I have this Drampa and you've confused it, and I try to attack you, I have to flip a coin.
Oh.
A lot of coin flipping involved. And then if the coin lands on heads, the attack works. If it lands on tails, it takes 3 damage counters.
So you would not
30.
play a Pokemon while it's confused.
You could. You're just taking a gamble.
Shouldn't.
You're just taking a gamble.
Okay.
You like gambling.
I do, but you shouldn't.
Taking a gamble. Depends.
50-50.
It's 50-50.
All right.
It could hurt itself.
Okay. All right.
There's that. Beyond status conditions, like I said, attacks can do any number of things. Effects of attacks can draw cards, can allow you to attach additional energies, which is really powerful.
Okay. So this is a weaker Pokemon, correct?
I'm keeping like it pretty basic.
Okay.
Yeah. Keeping it pretty basic for the sake of like learning.
Sure. So okay.
Not one you would typically see if you went to a card shop.
Nobody would play this.
Nobody
would bring Drampa in their holster. Okay.
Nobody's got Drampa sleep.
Okay.
Yeah. So you already read the second effect. So we're gonna move actually to the bench. So
Okay.
it does. If all of your bench Pokemon have 1 damage counter, the attack does 120 more damage.
Okay.
We're gonna move to what the bench is.
All right.
We spent the whole time talking about your active Pokemon.
Right.
The whole game revolves around your active Pokemon versus my active Pokemon.
Okay.
So, you also have access to your bench.
Okay.
On your bench, you can have up to 5 other Pokemon.
All right.
You play them from your hand onto your bench.
Okay, you pick them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, from the cards in your hand.
Sure.
So you can only play them on your bench if they're basic.
Oh, all right.
So It's a basic. So let's load up the
Okay.
troops here.
All right.
Let's say I have 3 Pokemon on my
Just
bench.
a good NBA team. You need a bench.
You need a good bench.
All right.
Yes. Behind every Drampa, there's a good bench.
Okay. Sure.
When your Pokemon is knocked out, it goes to the discard pile with all the energies attached by Drampa. You pick one of your Pokemon from your bench to move
Join.
out to the active spot.
All right.
I should mention that when you attack, your turn ends.
Okay.
Attacking is the absolute last thing
Last
you
thing
do
you
on
do.
your turn.
All
Turn
right.
ends, you can't do anything after that.
Okay.
Also, each Pokemon has a retreat cost, which you'll see in the bottom corner there.
Okay.
What do you think that means?
You'd have to use energy to not be attacked.
Kind of. So if this Ghastly has a dark energy attached to it, and it's my turn, and I go, you know what? I want to retreat it.
Okay.
I have to unattach the energy from it,
Uh huh.
put the energy in my discard pile, and then I can switch out.
I see.
I
So
can switch
discard
around to the other
means
two.
gone forever, right?
Discard means it's not necessarily gone forever, but it's been used. There
Okay.
are things to get things back from the discard pile.
All right, but it's
For the purpose of this, it's
theoretically gone. Okay.
theoretically gone. So the retreat cost is a number of energy equal to. Some Pokemon have no retreat cost. You can just retreat them for free.
All right.
Corridon, you see here, has 2.
Mm.
So you have to discard 2 energies
Sure.
attached to it to retreat it.
Okay.
The stronger the Pokemon, typically, the higher the retreat cost.
Got it.
So
All right.
that's typically how that goes. Also, if your Pokemon's asleep or paralyzed, you can't retreat them.
Reasonable.
So they have to stay out there.
Okay.
All status conditions otherwise do go away, however, if it goes from the active spot to the bench. So if it's poisoned and you retreat it, it loses the poison.
Okay.
No more poison.
All right.
Is everything making sense? Do you have any questions?
So you can pick any 7 cards or 60 cards,
Your deck starts with 60 cards.
and you can put any 60 cards. Can you put more than one of the same?
Oh, that's a good question. You can have up to 4 of each unique card. So I can
How
have
many
4
energy?
Ghastly. You can have unlimited basic energy. There's no cap on how many basic energies you have.
Right.
There are special energies that are capped at 4.
Okay.
Cards that are not basic energy are always capped at 4.
I see. All right. But so
With some
4.
exceptions.
Okay.
We'll get to those.
So 4 basic unlimited basic energy.
Yep,
So
you
how
can-
many? If you're
30
playing a
dark
random
energies.
game, 60 cards. How many energies do you bring?
10 to 13. You have 10 to 13 energies in your deck. 9 to
Okay.
13 even.
Okay.
That's typically like the number.
And then 47 other.
47 cards, mix of Pokemon trainers.
Okay. All right.
There are also effects of attacks or other things that affect your bench Pokemon.
All right.
So, like, if this is my setup, and you have a Pokemon that lets you attack something on my bench, let's say you have says like an attack that says deal 60 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon.
Okay.
You could go, oh, that Ghastly has 60 health.
Take it out.
Take it out. You take a prize card like normal. That counts as a knockout.
All right. All right.
So you get to take the prize card. There's a lot of strategies that involve like targeting the bench and stuff. 'cause
Targeting the bench.
Often, like the bench is where you're setting stuff up.
Okay.
So
And
you can disrupt my setup
Got it.
on your turn. So it's an
Makes
important part
sense.
of the game. And let's say I start a game and this Koraidon is the only thing I have out. I have no bench. You knock this out, you win the game.
Why would you only have that out?
Maybe I didn't draw another one to put out there.
Okay.
Cards you draw at random. You can't like just.
I see.
There are cards that let you find other stuff, but like
Okay.
maybe I've only drawn this one basic,
Okay. And if you.
and if you knock this basic out,
That would be
I don't have anything
unfortunate.
to replace it with. I lose.
Okay. Okay.
So that's a way to win the game as well. Separate from attacks, so we've talked about Koraidon, all this stuff. There's a thing called abilities.
All right.
So abilities, we have Okie Dokie,
Okay.
which is thoughts on the name.
It's tough.
It's a tough name.
What's he doing?
It's just like a dog. He has a toxic chain. He's controlled by a legendary Peach Pokemon.
Of course.
Yeah.
I should have known.
Yeah. That's kind of
Okie
embarrassing to
dokie.
know that.
Yeah. Okay.
There's Okie Dokie, Pheasantipity, and Monkey Dory.
Great. All right. Great.
We're talking about Okie Dokie. It's Okie Dokie, you see 130 health,
Yes.
fighting type,
Sure.
2 energies to use, good punch.
Good punch.
Good punch.
Okay. Or the ability.
Yeah, so the ability is going to be, have a red box as ability,
Okay.
and the ability written in red font.
Yep.
And the ability is going to have an effect. So this one's going to say, if this Pokemon has any dark energy attached to it, it gets 100 more health, and its attacks do 100 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon.
Okay.
So that's what we call kind of like a passive ability. So that just says like, hey, if this dark energy is on there, it gets way stronger.
Okay.
It gets
Right.
230 health,
Yes.
and its attack does 170.
Okay.
Right? That's cool. It powers up your Pokemon.
What's the drawback?
There is none.
Oh, okay. So this is a good one.
The drawback is like, you just wouldn't normally put a dark energy on it because like it doesn't help pay for the attack cost.
Oh, I see. All
But,
right. It's just
like-
like a multiplier.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there is no drawback. It's just a special thing it can do. So that's
Okay.
called like a passive. Anything that like
But you have to
just-
keep the card with it.
yes, the energy stays attached.
Okay.
We also have other kinds of abilities like this Radiant Greninja.
Okay.
Thoughts on Radiant Greninja?
Better than Okie Dokie.
Better than Okidogi.
Yes, for sure. Okay.
So 130
Yep.
water, water, anything, whatever.
So this has no attack.
This does discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 90 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon.
Oh, I see. Oh, I see.
that's
It's
the
just
attack
not
that has
listed
this
there.
effect. So
Okay.
you get to get rid of 2 energies off of it, and then you can do 90 to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon, including bench. So if you have this, and we go back to this setup where I have this Ghastly and Poochyena
Yep.
on my bench, you can discard 2 energies, knock out both of these.
Both. Okay.
There goes my
So
setup.
this is a very powerful one with attached.
This is a really heavily played card. People
Okay.
play this a lot. They never attack with it.
Okay.
People only play this for its ability.
You must discard an energy card from hand in order to use this ability once during your turn. You may draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
You just want the cards.
Yep.
Cards are more
Cycles
valuable
one-
than the attack.
Yep.
Okay.
So you cycle one of your energies for 2 extra cards.
Right. Okay.
That's powerful.
Sure.
Game about card advantage.
Now, are
Resource
you
management.
and on a turn?
Mhm.
Like, are you using every card every turn?
You don't have to. You don't
Okay.
have to use this. This is a thing. This is like
You're limited by how many energies you have, realistically.
right. And even if you have an energy in your hand to use, you don't have to use this. You can only,
why would you not?
maybe like you need to attach the energy to one of your Pokemon to attack. So
Okay.
you decide between like, do I want to attack?
But theoretically, you
normal
use
cards.
every energy card in some way every turn.
Yeah, typically.
Why would you? Because why would you not?
Right. Yeah.
If
Energy
you-
cards you typically use. The abilities are like
Okay, sure.
you don't have to use
Right,
those. But
okay.
the energy is like you're pretty much doing something with them every turn.
Okay, right.
So Radiant Greninja also is fun because I mentioned like you can have 4 of like each Pokemon,
Okay.
like a non-energy card in your
Yeah.
deck. There's a little text
So
box in the middle there.
so you gotta draw 8 cards every turn, right? If you had 4 of these guys,
Well,
if you had enough energy.
so read that little text box right under the picture.
Oh, you can't have more than 1 in your deck.
Yes.
Okay, limited. Okay.
Yeah, so the Radiant's one of the exceptions where
Hmm.
they're really powerful, so
Okay.
you have to choose wisely.
Is that a new edition?
Newer? It's a few years old now,
Okay.
but like newer.
Did
There are
the-
a bunch of different Radiant Pokemon. They're all very powerful. You have to pick wisely. This is just the generically best one.
Okay.
So
I
but Everyone
understand.
plays energy, and
So this
everyone
is
needs to
a
draw
this
cards.
is a multiplier of drawing cards.
Yep. So decks that don't even play any water types or water energies just play this card to use first, just to use the ability.
Okay.
So.
All right, I got that.
So
Okay.
yeah, good card. All right, so we're almost done talking about Pokemon. A couple things left. So one important thing: there are different types of Pokemon. I'm not talking about the energy types. I'm talking about like kinds of cards. So we've seen Radiant Greninja, Radiant, but it's still basic. There's also very popular in the game right now something called EXs.
All right.
So EXs, I have the Cyclizar EX here. What can you tell me about Cyclizar EX? Let's see what you've learned so far.
Well, good health,
Yep,
right? The power run, and then obviously full throttle.
of course.
During your next turn, the Pokemon can't attack. So
Yep.
it does 180 damage, and the other guy can't attack.
Well, this can't attack.
Oh, you can only use it once every other turn.
Yes,
Okay, but it's very powerful.
on 180.
So you could wipe out
Yep.
2 people on the bench.
Well, no. So it doesn't specify you can attack the bench.
Oh,
so
it has to.
unless it specifies you can attack the bench, you have to attack the active.
I
Pokemon.
see. But
Yep.
this is still a very powerful
A
card.
180 punch for 3 energies of any kind, kind of just like a generically solid like attack.
Sure. Okay, because you're getting 30 for 1, 180 for 3.
Yep. So
Okay.
the 30 for 1 also has the effect of acceleration. Read the additional effect on power on.
Search your deck for basic energy card and attach it to this Pokemon. Then shuffle your deck.
Yep.
So what does that do?
So
Why would you want to shuffle your deck?
well, you have to so there's a lot of cards that let you go into your deck.
Okay.
Anytime you go into your deck, you have to shuffle
Okay.
like after.
do you
because
blindly
to
pick a
not
card? Or you
cheat. No,
Oh.
you can look through every card in your deck, find a basic energy, attach it to it, and then once you've found the energy, you shuffle.
Okay, but when you're drawing a new card into your playable cards, are the cards face up or down?
Face down.
So you don't know
You-
what you're getting.
No, right. You don't know what you're getting
Okay.
until you your deck's face down
I see. All right.
Yep.
So what does it matter whether you shuffle if it's face down?
because you'll look through it.
Oh, I see. And you'll know what's next.
Right.
Okay.
So you have to shuffle because
Otherwise it'd be cheap.
Yeah,
All right.
otherwise it'd be
All right. All right. Okay.
so this kind of helps you bridge the gap from using power run to full throttle.
I get it,
Right?
okay.
Because this costs 1 energy and when you use it, it does 30 damage, but also lets you attach another energy to it. So next turn, because remember, you can only attach one energy per turn.
Oh, so
normally.
it takes 3.
Right. So this
turns.
gets you from 1 to 3 just by itself.
Okay. Okay.
So it's pretty cool.
Okay.
So, EXs are always more powerful.
Okay.
Health, attacks, usually just
What
like
does
the whole
EX
9
mean?
yards. EX was a mechanic they actually started in like 2003
Okay.
with Ruby and Sapphire, and then they brought it back just a couple years ago.
Okay. Would this be a card you'd have in your deck?
EXs, yes. This one specifically is actually underpowered compared to most EXs. I used it because it's generic.
Disappointing. Okay. Cycles are.
There is a drawback to EX Pokemon.
Okay.
Every EX Pokemon has a drawback.
Okay.
There's a box on the bottom right here that says Pokemon EX rules. When your Pokemon EX is knocked out, your opponent takes 2 prize cards.
Oh, all right.
So you gotta think wisely
Sure.
about when to play an EX.
And the prize cards are the ones that you get 6 of them gone, you win the game.
Yes.
All right.
So if you know,
Takes 2 of yours or 2 of their own?
so if you knock this out, you take 2 of yours. Remember, you
All
need
right.
to take all 6 to
Oh,
win the
so
game.
that's a third of the deal.
Right.
All right.
Right. So the EXs have a drawback.
Okay. Big drawback.
Big drawback.
Yeah.
Powerful, big drawback.
3 of those and you're done.
3 of those and you're done.
Okay.
That's right. Most decks play EXs. You just live with the drawback.
Okay.
But just worth noting. There's also something in standard right now called V Pokemon. They work effectively the same. They're worth 2 prize cards. I'm not going to really get into Vs.
Okay.
Pokemon as a game has something called rotation, where like the pool of cards you're allowed to use changes. Older cards exit as newer cards
This
come
is
in.
from the High Council of Pokemon,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay.
So they're actually denoted by there's a tiny letter
Okay.
on the bottom there. I
G?
think this is G. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's I don't remember exactly what's standard legal right now, but it's based on the letter.
Okay.
So like basically every year they'll be like, this letter is rotated out.
Gone. All right. I get it.
Yep.
Sure.
So
So some Pokemon get retired.
Yep.
And new ones come in.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That just makes
You'll
you
see a lot of like the same like
makes you buy more cards.
right. It also like keeps it
Yeah, but it keeps it fresh.
It keeps it fresh.
Sure.
You know, keeps stuff moving. Like yes, it's a sales thing, but it's
Yeah.
also like
No, right, because
Yeah.
it could just be the same combination over
Yep.
and over. Okay.
Yep. Pokemon's like I don't want to call it like a linear game too, but like whereas games like Magic are like so more in depth and fluid, Pokemon's like a little more like straightforward,
Mhm.
I guess in that sense. So
Okay.
it would get pretty tiring like playing against
Yeah, yeah.
stuff over and over.
Okay.
So.
So it's once a year?
Yeah, once a
Yeah,
year.
okay.
Stuff rotates.
All right.
The rules of rotation have changed throughout the years, but right now it's once per year.
Okay.
In on Charles Darwin.
Yes.
In on Charles Darwin.
Yes.
Let's talk about evolution.
Let's do it.
Remember our good friend Ghastly here.
I do.
Little thoughts on Ghastly.
Needs to evolve.
Needs to evolve.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you said something.
Yeah.
So everything up until now, including the Cyclozar, you'll notice is basic. Everything we talked
Yes.
about is basic.
Right.
Radiant Greninja, basic. So there's 3 different kinds. There's basic, stage 1, stage 2.
Okay.
So Ghastly. What do
Basic.
you think Ghastly evolves into? Wild guess.
Oh dear God. What is this?
What do you mean?
What is this? Like, what is this thing?
It's a ball of gas.
Gas. A cloud.
No.
Okay.
It evolves into Haunter.
A ghost.
Gas is a ghost. It's a ghost ball of gas. It
That
evolves
has
into Haunter.
super poison breath. How would I have ever guessed that?
You weren't gonna.
Okay. Great.
You were doomed to fail. That's fine.
Okay.
So, the rules of evolution. You'll see in the top corner of Haunter here, it says stage 1 evolves from Ghastly.
Yes.
There's a little picture of Ghastly.
Can you play both together?
Yeah, we'll get to that in one
All
second.
right.
So to evolve, I have this Ghastly on my bench, we'll say.
Yes.
On my turn, I go, I want to evolve this.
I see.
I put the Haunter card on top of it.
That's it.
Any energy, so if this Ghastly had a dark energy attached to it, the energy stays.
Okay.
If it had any damage counters, it stays. So like if this Ghastly had taken 30 damage from something,
Okay.
evolving doesn't heal it.
So when you're building your deck, you're planning on evolving that
Yes.
at some point
Yep.
because you're bringing both cards.
Correct.
All right.
Yep. Absolutely right. Haunter also doesn't have access to Ghastly's attacks. Haunter can only
Okay.
use its own attacks.
Right. Okay.
There are effects that in the past that have let you use free evolution,
Okay.
but that breaks the rules.
Super
of the game.
poison breath.
Super poison breath. So
All
this
right.
does actually. Oh wow, I did have something that poisoned. You can go back to status conditions.
All right.
So do 2 darkness energy, 30 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is not poisoned.
Okay.
Remember, poison
Right.
is in between every turn. It takes 10 damage.
Right. Okay.
So, evolution can go further. Like I said, basic, stage 1. Stage 2.
There it is.
This is our friend Steve's favorite Pokemon.
Gengar.
Gengar.
That's his favorite Pokemon.
Steve loves Gengar.
Oh, 310. It's legit.
Gengar EX.
EX. Oh, yeah, so he takes 2 away.
Yep.
Gnawing Curse. Okay, and Tricky Steps. So, all right, this is very powerful, obviously. And what does it take to go from 1 to 2?
The card in your hand. All you need to evolve is to have the Gengar in your hand and put on top of the Haunter.
So then you, like, if you have this card at the beginning, you're going to do that immediately in 2 turns, right?
Ah, there's a rule.
Oh, there's a rule. All right.
Pokemon can't evolve the turn you play it. So if I play this Ghastly, I can't evolve it right away.
All right.
And then, okay, nice, my turn's passed.
Yes.
I have this Ghastly. I now have this Haunter. Well, this Haunter just came in. So we can't evolve until my next turn.
Okay, so it
So
takes
stage 2
2
evolutions
turns.
take a little bit of setup. Power's usually worth it. Like you see 310 health.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Sure.
you can just see like how the
Clearly.
jump in power level.
Clearly, okay.
Yeah.
So then, would you, when you're building your deck, do you take basically 3 of each?
So actually you'll end up doing 4 of the base one typically. Just standard deck building, general rule of thumb, you'll take 4, and then it's often like 3-3.
I see. Okay.
Sometimes you actually cut on the middle stage. There's a trainer card, we'll talk about trainers in a second, that lets you jump from base 1 to stage 2.
Okay.
So you can kind of skimp out on the middle stage a little bit, but for the most part, it's going to be 4, 3-3.
Okay. Okay.
Depends, but yeah. So 3-3, I mean, you were pretty close.
Okay.
So because if you have this Haunter in hand, you can't do anything with it.
Right.
You can't play this Haunter if Ghastly does not exist.
Oh, okay.
So you don't want to like risk. You want to like decrease your risk a little bit of getting a hand where you have like 2 Haunters and no Ghastly.
Now, if
or
somebody,
a Haunter and a Gengar.
if Haunter's on your bench,
Uh-huh.
and somebody takes a shot at it,
Yeah.
or Ghastly's on your bench,
Yep.
takes a shot at it, knocks it out, is Haunter dead too? Because you can't evolve to it if it's already
The
gone.
Haunter's just trapped in your hand then, yes.
You can't ever use it
If you can draw another Ghastly.
if you have another one, right?
Right.
So you have to bring 2 Ghastlies.
So you have 4. Remember, you can have 4 Ghastlies in your deck. You can have 4 of each individual.
So you're
Pokemon in your
bringing
deck.
burn cards for each of these, right?
Right.
Because you're
So, like,
assuming they'll get knocked
You're
out.
assuming that one of these will get knocked
I
out
see.
somewhere.
All right,
along
I
the
didn't realize you. Okay.
way. Yep. So your bench can have like 2 Ghastlies on your bench.
Okay.
So then if you have the Haunter, your opponent knocks out 1 Ghastly, you can be like, back up Ghastly.
Back
Here's
up
my
Ghastly.
Haunter.
Okay. All right.
So, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if you don't have Ghastly, so like that's part of like why denying setup is like an important part of the game, right? Because like if you deny me evolving 1 turn by knocking out my bench Ghastly, like you've really slowed down my game plan.
Understand. Okay.
Everything still good?
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right. So we're done with Pokemon. You,
All right.
you made it.
Great.
Any last second questions about any of the Pokemon?
No, I'm ready to
No,
attack.
ready? All right. We're ready to attack.
Let's
All right,
go.
we got one more cards to talk about though.
All right.
We're not done. We have trainers.
Okay.
Trainers, so if energies are like the lifeblood, Pokemon are like the vehicle, trainers are like an accelerant.
Okay.
They support your game plan. Literally, actually, some of them are called supporters.
All right.
We'll start by talking about supporters. There's different kinds of trainers. There's supporter, item, tool, stadium. So supporter, start with supporter. This is one of the most iconic cards of all time, actually.
Okay.
It's printed, like, the first ever set had this card.
Professor's Research.
Professor's Research.
Okay.
It's called Professor Oak's Research, but
Okay.
what does it do?
Discard your hand and draw 7 cards. So just
Yep.
basically start over.
Yep.
So you can Scrabble when you dump all your cards.
Pretty much.
Your letters. Okay.
Yep, but it's good.
Okay.
Like, it's like a really, really, really good card. Most decks play this card.
Okay. If you get stuck with stuff you don't want.
Or, if this is the last card in your hand, you can just play it and draw 7 cards.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So,
All
but
right.
yeah, like if you get stuck with like, these 3 cards are, I don't need,
Okay.
I just need a fresh 7. Here's a fresh 7.
Okay.
So, supporters are really powerful, most important type, strongest ones. Like I said, you can play specifically this one with 0 cards in hand and just get the free 7 cards. No need to discard anything at all.
Okay.
Supporters have a drawback. You can only play 1 supporter during your turn.
Okay.
That's the,
Reasonable.
That's the cost of
All right.
power. Is a limit. There are some that are draw engines. There are some that can like accelerate energies, like I said, like let you attach energies from your hand or your deck. They can even force your opponent to switch Pokemon.
Okay.
So like if they're building up like one giant thing and like got
So
some
there's
weak stuff
more
on their
supporter
bench,
than
there's a
just
bunch
this
more
dude.
supporters.
All right.
I'm just using this one because it's
I understand.
easy to understand.
Sure,
It's
sure.
iconic.
Okay.
Honestly, like I think personally the cards in the game that like help determine the most wins and losses.
These are?
I think supporters are like the most raw power cards in the game.
It's like having a good coach.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. Supporters often also like featured like named characters from like the show or like the video games and stuff.
Okay.
Like this is the Professor Turo from
Okay.
Scarlet and Violet. So like they're often like named characters as well. It's just like a fun little thing if you're like a fan of the series.
So do you always bring this card with you?
You're pretty much always gonna have like.
Does it stay on your bench?
That's a good question. I'm glad you asked that because like that's me assuming that.
Sure.
So this is a card in your hand. You play this card. You do what it says. It goes to your discard pile.
You're done
It's
with
a one turn,
one and
time
done.
thing.
So how many do you bring with you? 2, 3?
Supporters, typically, you're gonna have somewhere in the neighborhood of like I don't know. I want to say like 8.
Oh, okay.
8, like 6 to 8 supporters in your deck.
All right.
There's some you're gonna play like one of. It's like a silver bullet kind of a thing. Like you only really like need it when you need it. There are some you're gonna want to see more often that really help your game plan. Professor's Research is one of those ones. You're gonna play like 1 or 2.
Okay.
You don't like need to see it, but it's a nice like. These cards stink.
Sure.
I need different.
It's Scrabble.
Yeah.
Just dump all your letters.
Yep. But there's a level here from power level supporter.
All right.
There's also just items.
Okay.
Items next.
That's a
It's
supporter.
Switch. Trainer.
Oh, item.
Supporter is like the subtype.
Okay.
These are all trainers.
Yeah.
Like item is the
Okay.
subtype. Supporter is the subtype.
Switch your active Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon.
Yeah.
Is that good?
It can be. Remember retreat cost.
Oh, right.
So, like-
you avoid the retreat cost.
Right. This just subverts the retreat cost
All right.
entirely. So
Okay.
like if you don't want to discard 2 energy from
And
your
as soon as
Gengar,
you use that, it's gone.
it's gone. Yep. Items are one-time use. Supporters are one-time use. Just goes to your
Okay.
discard pile.
Okay. That one's okay.
Switch to its job. Another card that was printed in literally the first set that has just
Okay.
made its way through time. They got that card right. They just keep printing it.
All right.
It's a good card. It pretty much always sees play.
Okay.
Your deck plays like a Switch or 2. It's just a good card to have in
All right.
your deck. It's like a little silver bullet. I like Switch a lot. It's like I said, easy card to understand.
Oh, Pokemon League headquarters.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second.
Oh, that's exciting.
So, items again like can heal damage off of your Pokemon. They can put Pokemon onto your bench from your deck.
Okay.
You know, like
Yep.
so it helps like rally the troops
Okay.
a little bit. They let you attach energies from your discard pile, get stuff back from your discard pile, shuffle things from your discard pile back into your deck,
Okay.
etc., etc. Items are you can play a lot of items in your deck as well.
All right.
Tool cards, which I have here, we can kind of knock out 2 birds with one stone here with this. It's called an A spec. It says it on the side in letters that are probably hard for you to see.
Mm-hmm.
Tool cards attached to a Pokemon, similar to an energy.
I see.
So this one says, attacks used by the Pokemon. This card is attached to do 50 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon EX. So let's say you have this
All
Gengar.
right. Yeah.
I have, we'll go with Corridon again. I can attach this tool from my hand to Corridon.
Instead of 130, it's 180.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. And then they stay attached until the Pokemon's knocked out. Then it goes to your discard pile.
Okay.
These tools are like a lasting effect.
Sure.
Ace specs, as a note, also have the same thing that Radiants have. You can't have more than 1 Ace spec in your deck.
Okay.
So there's a lot of different. All Ace specs are trainer cards. They do a lot of very powerful things, like I said. But the power is you have to pick which one is exactly right for your deck.
Okay.
So
Just one.
Yep.
All right.
So Maximum Belt serves as our tool and our Ace spec, just
Okay.
to knock out 2 birds with one stone. The last kind of card type. We're almost done. Believe it. Almost done.
Great.
Last kind of card type is Stadium.
Okay.
We get Pokemon League headquarters.
Arcade used by each Pokemon in play. Both yours and your opponent cost 1 more energy.
Yep.
So it's a road game.
Attacks used by each basic Pokemon in play cost
Okay.
1.
So if you had 2, it would cost 3.
Correct, for basic Pokemon, right?
For
so
basic
if
Pokemon.
If I have, and for both players,
You and me.
yes,
So why would you want to use that? If you have more energy or
Slow
you have
you
more
down.
basics,
slow you down. If I have less basics,
you would play this if the
Right.
other person had more.
yes,
Got it.
yes, and like slows your game plan down. Maybe I'm already set up,
Okay.
can slow you down a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
So
It's like
yeah,
crowd noise in the NFL.
kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little crowd interference.
Okay.
So this would make, like you said, this would make Cyclozar's first attack actually cost 2 because Cyclozar's a basic.
But only the first attack or the big
All
one
the
too?
attacks as well.
Oh, so
Yep.
4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And once you play this once, does it go away?
Stadiums stay out. They're a permanent effect. They affect like the whole board.
Okay.
If you have another stadium in your hand and you play it, mine goes away, yours stays up.
Till when? You play it again?
Until I play another one.
So you just back and forth every turn?
Yep.
Why wouldn't that happen every turn?
Because you don't play a lot of stadiums. Maybe your deck
If
maybe
you only
has,
play it once and then it goes away.
No, so so I play it, it stays.
Okay. Then it's my
I play
turn.
this stadium card.
Yes.
Pass to you. You don't have a stadium card. This stays.
Why wouldn't I have a stadium card? Why wouldn't I bring one?
And maybe you just haven't drawn it.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right. So
Sure.
this stays. Go back to me.
Then then you have the home game until I draw the card.
Yep. Until you draw a stadium, you play your stadium and go. I'm at home now. This
All
goes
right.
away.
And then it's gone.
And then it's in my discard pile. Your stadium's out there.
Oh, okay.
Unless I have another one that I can play.
So
my
then it's
other
game
one.
3 and 4 are back in my
Right,
place.
yeah.
All right, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Can you have more than one stadium in your 60 cards?
Yeah, in your 60 cards, you're probably gonna have like 2 to 3. Depends
Okay.
on some decks want more. There's some that really help out game plans. This is a generic one. Most people play one of
Okay.
their decks just because since Pokemon, you draw a ton of cards. You see a lot of cards.
Sure.
You can run like some silver bullet kind of cards. So it's like, I need my Pokemon League headquarters. I have a card that lets me go find a stadium card for my deck. My Pokemon League headquarters. Here's my Pokemon League headquarters.
Got it.
So you
All right.
like a couple like silver bullet stadiums. Some decks want more. Some decks might not want any, but you're typically playing like 1 or 2. I'd
Okay.
say on average. So
All right.
that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it.
Do
Okay.
you have any questions or anything you want me to go back over? Is there anything confused? A lot of information.
Sure. So you're limited by the cards you physically own,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
So do you buy cards based upon what you want to
Yeah.
play?
So there's different ways to like build decks too. And again, there's gonna be a part 2 to this where I
Okay.
talk more about deck building.
Yeah.
You and I play against each other.
All right. All right. Sure.
They sell pre-constructed decks that kind of like they're not immensely powerful, but they come with everything you'd need to sit
All right.
down and play.
So if
the game.
I was going to play the very first time,
You'd probably want a starter deck.
sure. Okay.
There are, like there's a professional.
Do you have to
Pokemon
declare your
procedure
cards to
kit.
the other person before?
No,
So you have no idea what I might
I have
be.
no idea what you're playing.
Okay.
Yep. There are some like bigger tournaments that might be what we call like open deck list, where like the deck lists are like public and
Okay.
I can like go on the website.
Do you ever play
and
more
look
than
it up, but-
one on one? Never like 2
not
on.
in Pokemon. No,
Okay.
Pokemon's designed for one-on-one. I think
Okay.
there are like some fan formats that let you play like multiplayer, but Pokemon
Tournament Pokemon's one on.
tournament Pokemon's one-on-one. Typically best of 3.
Okay.
So
And tournament Pokemon uses like the same cards as we have here, right? Like there's
more or less,
more or
yeah.
less,
Like
okay.
I mean,
the same from the deck of 1,025, right? Is that the limit of the
no.
universe?
So there's different. Like each Pokemon has different cards.
Right.
So like there's like 20 different Ghastlies.
Okay.
Depends on which ones are like legal and standard.
I see.
There's going to be some situations where there's like multiple Ghastlies legal and standard.
Okay.
So if you're playing like this Gengar deck and you need to decide which Ghastly you're using, let's say there's this one that has 60 points. There's another one that has 70. You might lean toward the one with
Okay.
a little more health, so it's harder for your opponent to kill it.
So, talking about people who collect Pokemon and
Yeah.
haven't played the game yet.
Yeah.
Do people play them with top loaders on?
Not top loaders. There are sleeves.
Okay,
Like
like-
meant to be shuffled. Not like penny sleeves like we use.
Okay.
Penny sleeves are impossible to shuffle. You
Sure.
imagine
I
shuffling
know.
cards and putting
No,
them
no,
in
no.
places.
Spilled them all over the place.
There's a
before.
lot of like the big, like there's like Ultra Pro, Dragon Shield, Katana sleeves.
Okay.
Like tons of different brands that sell sleeves like designed to put your cards in and shuffle.
Okay.
Um,
So they're specifically designed to play the game.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Again, depends on the brand of like, but all the like major sleeve brands are going to be pretty good.
Okay.
So, yeah, to avoid damaging cards. Really, I've played card games most of my life. It's really hard to damage a card if you're just not shuffling like an absolute clown.
Sure.
So,
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Okay.
I don't think I've ever damaged a card like
Okay.
shuffling my deck. It just doesn't
I
happen.
think I got the basics.
I think you got the basics.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You done to learn more next time?
Sure.
right.
Absolutely.
Thanks everyone for watching. I've given Josh and all of you the basic tools to kind of learn how to play. If anyone has any questions, leave them in the comments. Let me know.
Of course.
We'll go and answer those, and we'll have a second part of this where we'll talk more about deck building,
Okay.
how you want to build like ratio of trainers. We talked about it a little bit, but like ratio of Pokemon, ratio of trainers,
Right.
ratio of energies, actual game strategy, and then maybe you and I can
All right.
play.
Are
a
you
little bit,
building
yeah.
my deck too?
We'll probably use starter decks.
Oh, even up.
Yep.
All right. Let's
Yep.
go.
Completely even playing field.
Fun.
Use a couple starter decks. So look forward to that next time. Thank you all for watching. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you for part 2. Thanks a lot.